this is the story of the soldier of the Mars Defense Force.
Section 51.
Section 51.
Section 51.
Hi everyone, what's up? I am GH aka DOZgeek, back here with you again on Section 51. Thank you again to watch this new video. Today I wanted to tell you this very strange story, an incredible story that you can read, you can see on internet for many years now. This is the story of the soldier of the Mars Defense Force. I have to admit that would make a very good movie. Okay guys, so all the story begins with that man in 2006, Randy Cramer, a member of the United States Marine Corps, who initially told his story under the pseudonym Captain Kaye and says he was only 4 years old when he began training for the SSP, the Secret Space Program, through a program called Project Moon Shadow. He was one of approximately 300 girls and boys who were covertly drafted to participate in the program. Girls comprised only 20% of the group, a male-female ratio that remained consistent during his entire 20 years with the SSP. When he turned 17 in 1987, Cramer was involuntarily recruited to be part of the Mars Defense Force, the MDF, whose purpose was to protect 5 civilian settlements already in existence on Mars. This program was not sponsored by any government or governmental agency, but by an international group comprised of the United States, Germany, Russia, and China. Even though these countries were not getting along very well on Earth, they secretly joined together to work on the SSP and formed the MDF. Cramer became a captain in the US Marine Corps in this program and was given top secret clearance, a necessary requirement for those participating in the MDF. When Cramer left Earth, his first stop was based on the moon that he believed had been established around 1953 or 1954. This is where he signed his enlistment papers and committed to spending 20 years of service on Mars with a special elite unit of the Marine Corps. At first sight I have a big doubt about this whole story, but for the fun, let's continue the journey to Mars. I usually like to dive into science fiction. So there were 3 primary purposes for sending secret military-like troops to Mars. 1. To establish an extraterrestrial defense for Earth. 2. To claim Mars as a US territory. And 3. To get Martians accustomed to having Earthlings present on their planet. In addition, the Mars Defense Force aimed to research the viability of establishing a human civilization in space should a cataclysm occur on Earth. Cramer was sent to the main settlement of Arias Prime, which was also the first Earth settlement on Mars. The settlement was comprised of the same types of people and organized in the same way as the original colonies were settled in America. People with all types of skills, ranging from scientists to farm workers, live in this colony. The military base at Arias Prime, called Forward Station Zebra, was where Cramer spent all of his time while on Mars. He was given the code name Zen. One of the most remarkable things that Cramer says about the planet is that the air is breathable. His station was in the far north of Mars, and he says that the atmosphere is similar to the Antarctic, which is why he wore a face protector. Taking the protector off in the biting cold was uncomfortable, but it could be done since he could breathe the air. There are two main indigenous intelligent species on Mars: reptilian and insectoid. At Cramer's initial briefing, he was told these were native savages and beasts. However, he soon learned that they were evolved species, each with their own culture, civilization and intelligence. Their homes are mostly underground, and Cramer frequently referred to them in interviews as living in hives or nests. At first, the indigenous people treated the humans from Earth as neighbors. As long as their nests and hives were not disturbed, there was no problem. They seemed more interested in maintaining their territory rather than fighting. Even so, there were frequent skirmishes. The humans and Martian natives became wary of fighting and actually signed a treaty agreeing to peace. The treaty had two major parts to it. First, the humans would not invade the sacred place of the indigenous people. The second part of the treaty required the humans to work together with the reptilians and insectoids to fight an invading species of reptilians known as the Draconians. The Draconians were vicious and evil, but the joint venture was successful and the Draconians withdrew. Cramer gets emotional when he talks about the last battle he participated in before leaving Mars. For some reason that he was never able to understand, he was ordered as part of a 1,000-man force to go into one of the sacred tunnels of the reptilians or reptoids to capture an artifact. This was in direct violation of the treaty. Cramer expressed his concern to his commanding officer, who agreed with him, but said he had orders from headquarters and the mission had to be accomplished. The men went through the underground tunnels and came to a large dome about the size of the Superdome or Astrodome. They lost all communication with headquarters when suddenly doors all around the edge of the arena opened and out charged the reptoids swinging large-bladed weapons, just like Starship Troopers. Cramer said it was like being in a blender. Cramer was one of about 35 men who survived. While he was recovering from his wounds, his superior officer met with him and offered him a pilot position. That sounded great to Cramer, and he spent his last 3 years in the SSP as a pilot on the moon. When his 20 years of service were up, he spent several weeks on the moon for a reverse aging process so that he could return to Earth and be inserted back into his original timeline, 1987. His memories of his 20 years of service were suppressed and did no return to him for many years. Cramer's story is really extraordinary. It is even more astonishing that similar stories are told by at least 6 other men who say they served in the SSP, on the moon and on Mars at different times. Although their stories are all similar, they did not serve together and did not know about each other until they began revealing their experiences. That's fascinating. The space travelers all recall different travel methods, but all report experiencing some type of teleportation through a portal. This allowed them to travel quickly to these off-planet locations. They communicated with the indigenous Martians through telepathy. All the whistleblowers who tell their stories report the breathability of the Mars air. There is more to Cramer's story. He has been telling it since 2006 and will continue his quest to convince people that there is a secret space program with civilizations established on the Moon, Mars, and perhaps other planets and solar systems. Moreover, since he went public with these reports, Cramer has gone on record that he is of the opinion that it isn't just Mars and the Moon that have been claimed, but deeper into the solar system and even beyond. Sincerely, I don't know what to think about that. Randy Cramer's life experiences are either incredible or absurd. Either he's completely insane, or all the story is true, and if it's true, this is huge. However, in both cases, the story would make a great movie or a great book. That reminds me of that excellent comic book, The Forever War, written by Joe Haldeman in 1974, telling the contemplative story of soldiers fighting an interstellar war between man and the Taurans. I highly recommend you this reading, that's really excellent. This work is a great piece of science fiction. And you, what do you think of Captain Kaye's leak? What do you think of the story of Randy Cramer? What do you think of the story of the soldier of the Mars Defense Force? Is it true or is it pure science fiction? Thanks for watching. I'll be back really soon. Open your eyes, watch the sky, live long and prosper.